Hey chat. Finally he's awake, huh? Yeah, I feel the same. By the way chat, you guys look amazing today. I love that hairstyle, fits you hasta. Anyway, I just want to sniff Cora's sweaty armpits and shove my face in Amelia Watson's boob ass. Sugoi. Dono? Pogo Dono? Pogo. Anyway, Arjan? Azuni? Azarite? Azgul? Azerbaijan? Abuli? Abduli? Azim? Hassan? Hasuni? Hasbar?
What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hassan Piker, and this is the Awesome Ivy broadcast coming to you live from sunny California, Los Angeles. Sunny and yet so cold California, Los Angeles. We are live once again. Boys, girls, NBs. We are live, but I, on the other hand, am sitting on borrowed time, if you will. Now, you might say, why, Hassan? Why are you on borrowed time? Well, that's because, as you can see, I got a laser red dot directed at my forehead. I might, if they pull the trigger, if the sniper pulls the trigger, I'm dead, folks. I am almost certain that this is not a zit, by the way. I am almost certain that this is not a zit. Anyway, Biden is live signing executive orders right now on racial equity, so we're going to get to that quickly. But Biden is signing executive orders as always. That's what we're going to get started on with. It could just be an infected pimple. I have been touching it, yes. And I've been touching it. I've been picking at it. It's my third eye opening, folks. That's what it is. So he did it. He did it, boys. Biden did it. He officially signed
groundwork for progress.
He officially signed an executive action to end the CEO of racism. That's it. There is literally no reason to continue going forward with broadcasts like this. It's over. He signed. He's live signing. I'm gonna welcome the Normans into our home immediately because there isn't much personal news. I hung out with my mom last night. I ended a little bit earlier than usual. I only did a 10-hour boy. Most of yesterday was spent. Stop playing like me. I didn't teach Drake everything Soldier said. Okay, thank you, Soldier, for the $3 dono. Last night I ended after Hitman. After finishing Hitman, I ended stream because my mom came back. So I hung out with her as always, which usually is us disagreeing on what to watch. We sit there on the couch, okay, and it's like an hour and a half of me trying to pick something that she will also enjoy, okay, and most of it is just her being like, that's not good, I want to watch Bridgerton, I want to watch Crown, I want to watch Jane Austen, okay, like, and then it's like an hour and a half of me being like, no, I can't watch any of that stuff, that's really boring, okay, I literally cannot watch any of that stuff, accompanied by me finally coming to a point of compromise, like we're the goddamn Senate, okay? Like this is, people say the Senate is the world's greatest deliberative body. No, it is the Hasanabi couch, okay? It is the family couch. That is the greatest deliberative body on the planet, okay? There is so much back and forth going on. There's filibustering. I'm trying to remove the couch filibuster option, okay? And she's like, no, we're gonna, you know, I don't want to watch like anime, which is understandable. Like, and her going, I don't want to watch this, I don't want to watch that. And then ultimately me coming to a compromise and like finding something to watch so that she could fall asleep immediately after it goes, as soon as I press play. Like, literally, it is insane. Every single time, dude. Every single time. It's an hour and a half to 2 hours of us going back and forth, trying to find a specific thing so we can both enjoy it and watch it. And then literally as soon as I press play, my mom falls asleep. Which is incredible because, okay, well, now I'm watching the show. She's falling asleep. She's going to wake up in between. Okay, she's gonna wake up in between and ask some questions. She might even wake up by her own snoring. Okay, and then ask questions about like what's going on in the show. And it's like, Mom, I know you've been sleeping. I've been telling you you're sleeping. I keep waking you up to pay attention, but no, you're like very clearly asleep. What is this battle? Like, who are you lying to? Okay. Are you lying to me? Are you lying to yourself? It's just us two in this room right now. Why do you have to keep up appearances as though you are literally awake the entire time? So basically, it's just her lying about watching. So now I'm like an episode deep into the show. So now I have a new show that I could watch with my mom, but she's going to fall asleep every time. Okay, that's exactly what happened with Lupin. Okay, that's exactly what happened with Lupin. It's exactly what happened with The Last Kingdom, but I just blew through it regardless. I was like, I'm watching this because I'm really into it. And then after that, she's just like trying to catch up, but you know, she never has time. So Lupin is really good. Yeah, it's great. So basically, that's what happened last night as well. I started watching Spycraft because I thought like maybe she'll be into it. And immediately she fell asleep. Like literally like five minutes in, she fell asleep. And the show overall is like really bad, but the stuff that they talk about is so interesting that it keeps me going, I guess. Did you finish Flight Attendant? Yeah, I did. It was pretty good. Anyway, so that's where we're at. Yes, we will watch the new Johnny Harris. There's a CNBC video on why people are leaving California. We're going to watch that as well. There's a lot of news to go through, so I am welcoming the Normans into our home right now. I didn't go to the gym this morning, so because it was very cold out. But you know, let's bring in the Normans. Yeah. Daniel's Gaming, What Face, Normans are here. Y'all are all Normans anyway, so here it is. That's it, folks. Biden did it. He's live signing in executive order to end racism. We are live watching it. Y'all, let's go. www.twitch.tv/Hasanabe. So yeah, let's do it. Let's see what Biden has to say about ending racism, folks.
Actions to continue this vital work. Housing, for example. Housing is a right in America, and home ownership is an essential tool to wealth creation and to be passed down to generations. Today, I'm directing the Department of Housing and Urban Affairs and Urban Development to redress historical racism in federal housing policies.
You're going to talk about Kellyanne Conway too? Here's what I think about Kellyanne Conway and George Conway. They should be in jail, okay? That's it. That's my only thought on the issue. I think it's fucking weird as hell that so many like 30-plus-year-old motherfuckers have been like obsessively following Kellyanne Conway's daughters, TikToks and shit. I said it before. I don't know why people are so into it. It's very clear that this is like an underage person going through a fuckload, okay, by their abusive family. And I just don't understand what the fascination with it is. Please stop being weird, okay? Just, you know, call Child Protective Services and move on. That's what you got to do. All right? That's what I think about the Kellyanne Conway shit. Like, it's so weird. It's so fucking weird. And the latest part of this, like, saga is even weirder because now it's like, there's like child porn and shit involved in it. I don't know what the fuck is going on, okay? I don't know what's going on. It's gnarly. It's nasty. These are all these things that, like, these are all the things that people care about that I do not care about, such as Kellyanne Conway. Jimmy Dore farted into the microphone or something and is now defending Boogaloo Boys. Like, these are things that you care about because you literally only look at, like, trends on Twitter, and you only care about it because, you know, politics is a fun game to follow. And for a lot of people, it is like entertaining, but I find it really weird. I find it really weird to like consistently obsess over Jimmy Dore did this, Jimmy Dore did that. I think it's like, it's basically you're allowing him to win when you do that. And the same with like the Kellyanne Conway stuff, but of course no one is winning in that situation. Everyone's just fucking losing. Yeah, so that's it. Okay, let's get back to our fucking decrepit, dying, old man president defeating the CEO of racism. Old man defeating the CEO of racism by literally signing an executive action on racial equity.
Incarceration that is less humane and less safe, as the studies show. And it is just the beginning of my administration's plan to address systemic problems in our criminal justice system.
Dude, you're very wrong this time.
There's another thing we need to do.
Yes, dude, you're right. I'm very wrong this time. It actually, talking about like some fucking YouTuber hyping up a Boogaloo Boy, very clearly showing his ass, is actually precisely the kind of thing that we should be talking about endlessly improving the endlessly giving. Thank you, Popcorn Boy, for the list here. Endlessly fucking offering coverage to that is the right thing to do.
The truth is, our soul will be troubled as long as systemic racism is allowed to persist. We can't eliminate it. It's not going to be overnight. We can't eliminate everything, but it's corrosive. It's
yeah, I know Biden is signing.
Costly. It costs every American.
Biden is signing an executive order to end the private prison contracts as a part of the racial equity push, which is good.
Not just a nation.
There's a bunch of other stuff going on as well.
Deprived because of systemic racism. We're also less prosperous. We're less successful. We're less secure. So we must change. And I know it's going to take time, but I know we can do it. And I firmly believe the nation is ready to change. But government has to change as well.
That's what
We need to
happened
make
already
equity
with
and
Obama as
justice
well.
part
Obama did
of
this
what we
last,
do every
and
day.
then Donald
Today,
Trump
tomorrow, and every day.
literally was like, "Fuck
I'm going
that."
to sign these executive actions to continue the work.
Only federal
make
ones. That's the
real
only thing that he has
promise
jurisdiction
America
over
for
with an
every American.
executive order.
Again, I'm not promising we can end it tomorrow, but I promise you we're going to continue to make progress to eliminate systemic racism, and every branch of the White House and the federal government is going to be part of that effort. Thank you.
So that's a really good executive order. The Obama administration did that as well. But Rice noted in the briefing that Biden's order to the DOJ does not apply to private prison contracts with other agencies such as U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE. That's bullshit. That's absolutely fucking bullshit. That is
First,
not a
executive
carve-out
order.
that is acceptable, okay? Not utilizing private prisons for federal, for anything that falls under the jurisdiction of the federal government is a good thing, but ICE is a big part of that. ICE is a gigantic part of that. As a matter of fact, that's their big fucking earner. So this is like a really wishy-washy, really sneaky way of continuing to use for-profit federal prisons while saying you don't want to use for-profit federal prisons. Democrats are more progressive than Bernie. Their new minimum wage reaches $15 an hour 2 years faster and will peg the minimum wage so itself increases per we ended socialist MMA and Bree. What? Democrats are more progressive than Bernie? What are you talking about? Part of the reason why Democrats are on board with the $15 minimum wage is literally because of Bernie. He's at the forefront of every fucking minimum wage argument, minimum wage increase argument. That's so weird. Like, part of that is, of course, a big part of that is, of course, like the community push from labor organizing. But another gigantic part of that is the $15 minimum wage increase. Now, the funny part about it is, of course, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But the funny part of that is, of course, people are just now realizing that the $15 minimum wage increase isn't immediate, and it is in the next 7 years, basically, or it's an increase until it's an increase for until like 2025, but it's like it's going to only adjust in the next 7 years. It's 15 by 2025. And then a potential increase, right? Not 7 years, sorry. Now, 2025 also happens to be a different administration. It will turn it into an election issue for the upcoming election. But the irony, of course, is that $15 minimum wage at that point, and even at this point, is when adjusted to both inflation and also productivity, is already low, is lower. The minimum wage, if adjusted to inflation and productivity, should be even higher than that. Will the Republican administration be able to push? Will the Republican administration be able to pass that? I mean, stop that in 2025? No. The only thing they can do to the people who are saying like, oh, it'll be an election issue. It will be an election issue, except the reality is that Republicans can't. If Congress passes this legislation, Republicans can't just turn around and be like, all right, we're president now. It's no longer happening. You can't do that. It's legislation. So the only thing that Congress would be able to do at that point, which would be a deeply unpopular move to do, is decrease the minimum wage from $15 to like what, back to $7 in 2025. They're not going to fucking run on that shit. No one would want that. So it's not as scary as people think it is. It's not as scary as people think it is, as far as like what Republicans can do. Like, and even then, that psychotic bullshit that they do would only apply to federal contractors. Okay? You understand? So like, even if a Republican administration came in and they were like, all right, we're no longer doing $15 minimum wage, which would be insane. But let's say they did that successfully. If this legislation passed successfully, they would not be able to overturn it with an executive order. They would have to literally go back to the drawing board and try to remove federal minimum wage. They would only be able to remove it at the federal level from contractors that work with the federal government. Okay, just like Joe Biden already increased the minimum wage to $15 already. Do you understand? Like, think about it this way. Joe Biden already increased the minimum wage to $15 for federal contractors, okay? Because that's something he can do right now with an executive order. Whereas increasing it to $15 minimum wage across the board is going to be a legislative agenda item. It is impossible for him to do so with an executive action. It's still so low, and the minimum wage varies by county. Yes, of course it's still low. Here's the main pick of the $15 minimum wage bill: $9.50, $11 up on each year until 2025. Yeah, here it is. Remember, there's a difference between the federal minimum wage, which is what this bill is doing, and the minimum wage increase for federal contractors, those who work with the federal government. So the second part has already happened with an executive action. Except otherwise provided, not less than $9.50 an hour beginning of the effective date under Section 7 Raised Wage Act of 2021, $11 an hour beginning of 1 year, $12.50 an hour beginning 2 years, $14 an hour beginning 3 years after such effective date, $15 an hour beginning 4 years after such effective date, and beginning on the date that is 5 years after such effective date and annually thereafter. The amount determined by Secretary under subsection determination based on increase of the median hourly wage of all employees. Section 6 of the Fair Labor Standard Act of 1938 is amended by adding the end to the following: not later than each date that is 90 days before a new minimum wage determined under subsection is to take effect. The Secretary shall determine the minimum wage to be in effect under this subsection. So it's not automatically adjusted to inflation, which isn't good. Some countries do that already, but it gives the power to the secretary to potentially increase it in a periodic basis. So that's not bad either. Hawaii already has $10 minimum wage. Guys, here's the thing: the minimum wage is already higher, right? In some places, in some states. It doesn't matter, because a federal increase of the minimum wage to $15 an hour is good for fucking Alabama. It's good for Kentucky. It's good for places that will never, ever in a million years ever give people that kind of money. It's good for West Virginia. But that will also be good for California, for Illinois, for Colorado. It'll be good for places like Seattle, specifically, where the minimum wage might be even higher already than that federal minimum wage. But now you have more of a bargaining power as workers to be able to advocate for more. Workers groups will be able to push for higher wages now by pointing to the federal minimum wage and saying, look, this shit might be living wage for Alabama, but it certainly isn't for Los Angeles. Do you understand? That's the point. So looking at this and saying this is bad legislation is not accurate. Okay, you can say that it's not enough, and that's understandable because it's not enough. It's barely making ends meet. Okay, it's barely making ends meet. It's barely lifting up people that are currently making $7.25 an hour to a point where they can actually at least kind of survive in a lot of states. Which is, it's gross. That's just straight up fucking gross, okay? But having said that, this will allow people to advocate for even higher wages in other states where they already have higher wages. You get it? It's not good enough for California. Yes, I know it's not good enough for California, my friend. I know. I understand. But Californians and California organizers can now use the increase in minimum wage and the popularity behind it to already push for higher wages, like Florida already did. You understand? On a ballot measure, Florida already passed their minimum wage to their minimum wage hike to $15 already, and that's fucking Florida, brother. Like, Currently, the California minimum wage is $12 an hour. Okay? The California minimum wage at this moment is $12 an hour. Already not enough. But with an increase of a minimum wage increase going from $7.25 to $9.50, for example, or $11. No, minimum wage for employers with 25 employees or less is $12 an hour. Minimum wage right now, like literally right this moment in the state of California, minimum wage for employers with 25 employees or less is $12 an hour. Minimum wage for employers with 26 employees or more is $13 an hour. Next year, it's going to increase to $13.14. And then the year after that, in 2022, it's going to increase to $14.15. And by 2023, it's supposed to be $15 an hour across the board. Okay? That's what it's supposed to, that's how it works in California, because these initiatives have been pushed for already. You understand? But that was before, when the federal minimum wage was much, much lower. Do you understand? Oh, wait, we're in January 2021. Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. Dude, my brain is so fucking dumb. I'm still... Oh, wow, I had a brain fart moment. Oh, Jesus Christ. We are in 2021. Okay. Oh, my God. Okay, last year was a mulligan, so it doesn't count. Okay? Last year was a mulligan. It doesn't count. I totally forgot that we're in fucking 2021. For a second, I was thinking we were still in 2020. Okay. Shit. All right. The zit's just taking up so much of my brain power right now. So anyway, so you have to look at it. So you have to look at it from that point of view. It's not, if you live in a state where your minimum wage is already higher than this, then it's clearly not for you. But it does have a secondary impact for you. What? Biden, Peter Ducey says, Mr. President, what did you talk to Vladimir Putin about?
Mr. President, what did you talk to Vladimir Putin about?
You.
Oh, God. H. Bizzle, of course, this is what you would fucking send. Dude, classic, dude. Oh, look at him. Look at he's so funny, dude. He got him. Okay, dude. Yeah, we got it, dude. We're back. Liberalism is back, baby. Liberalism is fucking back, dude. If you got some dad jokes up in that, if you got some dad jokes under those sleeves, dude, you're good. No $15 until 2025. Dems getting fucked in the midterms. So I don't know what the best implementation strategy for minimum wage increases has been. I'd have to look into it a little bit further. But the reason why they do a price hike, a slow price hike, instead of an immediate $15 minimum wage that they slap on, is so that like small businesses have time to adjust. It's not for big businesses. If anything, if you have a 25 employee barrier, for example, you could literally do that for 25 employee, less than 25 employee businesses will be able to get minimum wage increases in a slower capacity, or put like a fucking like a revenue cap on businesses, maybe not even just by employer, but by like how much revenue they generate, or not profit, but how much net or how much gross revenue do they generate, right? And then say, you know, businesses that generate $1 million with a specific amount of employees will get an immediate hike. Businesses that generate less than less than $1 million fucking dollars in revenue. I'm making these numbers up right now, but you can tie it to something. If you want to do means tested policy as it pertains to small businesses, this is one area where you can do that, where you say, boom, immediate $15 minimum wage hike for big companies like fucking Subway and you know, Amazon, which already has done that regardless, but like Amazon, Subway, Walmart, like McDonald's, boom, you're done. $15 minimum wage immediately. But if you are a smaller business, then you can get subjected to the price hikes or minimum wage hikes and adjust it in accordance to what your revenue is. But I do think, I mean, I know for a fact that the real reason is because they are worried about potential implications that an immediate increase in minimum wage will have on small businesses. Will shock the economic system because a lot of small businesses operating on small margins. Increasing wage with inflation is best. Source, I study eco only, an MS Andy, not a PH Andy. Does this bill permanently keep the minimum wage below what it should be, since after $15 is back, it will only be increased every 5 years when inflation will erase the gains in minimum wage? Dude, I understand why you would be worried about this right now, but like, in comparison to where we are at right now with where we are going with a $15 minimum wage up by 2025, that's an incredibly good thing that is happening. I know that it's not enough. I understand that it's not enough, but it's a good start. It's what you do with that start is what matters going forward. If a business can't survive on $15 an hour, it should not exist. I mean, I understand that argument because you're basically saying like, okay, if I can't starve my fucking workers, like I can't have a business, then it's like, all right, well then it's time for you to fucking be a worker yourself, bitch. You know what I mean? That's basically what you're saying. What you're saying is, hey, small business owner, guess what? If you literally can't fucking pay your employees a living wage, then it's time for you to be an employee yourself. Now, the problem with that, though, yeah, welcome to worker land. The problem with that, though, is that you're eliminating small businesses. You're basically eliminating small businesses from the equation entirely, and then all of a sudden you have only big businesses, which is already happening regardless of whether the fucking minimum wage increases or not. So on top of that, everyone and their mother in finance thinks inflation will increase in the next 10 years. So if wages aren't tied to inflation, this is pointless. Merely just lowers chances of severe depression rather than doing something truly good for the working class. I mean, doing something truly good for the working class does not revolve around minimum wage increases. Doing something truly good for the working class revolves around allowing workers to be able to collectively bargain for their benefits and for their wages. Look, we've had a tight labor market for the past fucking 5 years before COVID, and even then the increase in wages and benefits was nowhere near the gains that you're supposed to have in a tight labor market. Like, you're supposed to, by regular like Econ 101 standards, if you have a tight labor market, it's supposed to be a labor market that benefits the workers, right? They have more bargaining power if there are more jobs available than there are fucking workers. And yet, for some weird reason, it didn't happen. It's not that anymore, regardless, because of COVID. But again, that theory does not fucking hold for some weird reason. My dad asked to watch news with me, and when I told him I'm watching you, he said, nah, I'll watch MSNBC. Yeah. RIP to your dad, but I'm different. I get what you're saying, that it agrees to step in the right direction, but don't you think including a delayed start to the policy allows politicians to put the issue back on the back burner? Doing this way makes it seem to me that this will make getting the minimum wage where it should be take that much longer. I don't know what the hurdles that they can place in front of this, but once this is fucking legislation, it's going to be very difficult to push back. Now, some things make this harder, like the fact that it is an adjusted rate increase rather than an immediate hike. If you don't get something immediately, it's a little bit fucking harder to it's a little bit harder to advocate for it. Obamacare is a great example of this. There were certain parts of Obamacare that were immediate, and those parts were incredibly popular. You know, the elimination of pre-existing condition discrimination, incredibly popular. Why? You got it immediately, right? And people knew this is a protection that I have now, okay? This is a protection that I have now, and anyone that tries to repeal this will take away that protection, and I don't want that protection to go away, because when you give people something, it's very hard to take it back. Republicans know this. Democrats know this as well. That's why Social Security, for example, will be advocated on, like people will advocate to cut Social Security all the time, but, you know, old people who vote and love Social Security will say, fuck off. Same with Medicare, for example. Republicans originally ran against protecting pre-existing, didn't they? Republicans before Obamacare very, very loudly, very boldly advocated against protecting pre-existing conditions. They literally said it's like getting insurance right after you were in a car crash. It is the most psychotic. It is the most psychotic argument when you think about it now with today's like normal standards. But back then, there were people that were debate lords on the internet who were very serious thinkers, by the way, who are still around, by the way, who are making that fucking argument. One day, I dream that we will look back at Ben Shapiro's couch argument about how buying healthcare should be like buying a couch argument as the most idiotic, cruel, inhumane, psychotic nonsense that's ever fucking happened in the history of political debates. Hopefully, one day we will look back at it in that regard. We would look back at it in that regard if we had socialized medicine in this country. The worst part is motherfuckers like Ben and all of these other dipshits who argue against progress would literally take it as is and would move further because they know that it's impossible to fucking advocate against. And they would just, you know, they would move on to the next thing. I remember you just saying if you can't pay your workers poverty wages, then your businesses shouldn't exist a couple days ago. Now you pity for small business, shaking my head. My pity for small businesses exclusively revolves around what it does to the marketplace. That's just the reality. I don't give a shit about like small businesses beyond the fact that I don't want everything to be a virtual monopoly. I don't want everything to turn into an oligopoly. But I still think it's rather funny, as I've said already, that the biggest fear that small business owners have is becoming a worker once again. That's what they fear most. Like their biggest fear is losing the capital, or losing the money that they put in to their business, and then having to fucking become a worker once again. It's not like you die when your small business goes away. And there are plenty of protective fail-safes built into the system that protects businesses over protecting workers themselves. Okay? I did steal that line from the chatter. Do you think that raising minimum wage requirements for only successful companies will lead to further monopolization? Also, by the way, what I was trying to say is, I apologize if this was misunderstood. What I was simply trying to say is explain to you why the immediate increase does not happen, and trying to describe to you what the political benefits are of an immediate increase versus the economic consequences might be of an immediate increase. Understand? Yes, we get it. I have a zit. It looks like a bindi. Okay, everyone has made the joke already. Aren't a large portion of small business owners are workers as well? My dad owns his medical practice, but there's one other employee besides himself. Yeah. I don't know what the exact number is, but yes, a lot of small businesses are just employed by an individual. You made it onto the new Vice QAnon documentary? Yeah, we'll look at that later. Have you seen the video exploding Putin's palace? 10 million views in like a week? No. But I've learned a lot about how Russians assassinate dissidents and whistleblowers and shit. And it's fucking crazy. Specifically, the polonium thing is like the most insane assassination I've ever fucking heard of. It is absolutely wild. No, not the umbrella one. They just put like a little fucking grain, like you can't even see. It's a little grain of like this nuclear substance that they threw into this this dude who said Putin was a pedophile, like wrote a book about how Putin was a pedophile, and also how like Putin actually did he's like fucking Russian Alex Jones. But they put it in his fucking green tea. It is crazier than exploding cigars. And the reason why polonium is so fucking crazy is because they were able to track Alexei Zhonzunov. Yeah, like there's no way to save that person. No, there is no way to save that person. Once you fucking drink that tea with like that little grain of fucking polonium, it's over. Not only is there no way to save that person, the people that that person touches is radioactive. Like that dude immediately was like cancer all the way, fucking done. Like you become a radiating substance yourself as soon as you drink it. They were able to track the polonium and how it traveled specifically by looking at like the fucking the radiation on the seat that the Russian dudes emitted. Like they looked at radiation in this like German fucking apartment that they stayed in. There was radiation once that dude drank the polonium green tea. Once that dude drank the polonium green tea, he takes a shit. That's nuclear waste. He touches a fucking bathroom stall, nuclear waste. Like there's literally radiation in every moment. Once it goes through once you ingest it, it's over. It's completely over. It's one of the most psychotic things I've ever fucking heard, dude. It is one of the most psychotic things I've ever seen and ever heard. No, I'm not talking about Navalny. The guy who killed that person got a medal from Putin. Yeah, it's not surprising. Yeah, I was just looking at like the craziest assassinations. North Korea's assassination is the wildest one. Kim Jong-un assassinating his brother, his like half brother or whatever, is one of the wildest ones, where they hired this Cambodian woman and this Vietnamese woman and basically told them, because Kim Jong-un's brother was like a fucking idiot. Like he was literally rolling around the entire world with his regular passport, like everybody knew. So they intercepted him in Malaysia. Okay? They intercepted him in Malaysia. North Korean spies roll up on this Cambodian and Vietnamese woman and say, hey, we are going to do a YouTube prank show. We're going to do a YouTube prank show. This is your target. All you need to do is rub his face with this like substance that we're going to give you. So this Cambodian woman, this Vietnamese woman run up thinking that they're on a fucking prank show and just grab the dude's face with what they thought was just like a fucking funny meme, but turns out was immediate poison. Boom, dead. Like he realizes he might be poisoned, goes up to the cops before he can fucking describe what happened to him, dead. They of course catch the two women immediately and they're like, what the fuck? You just literally assassinated the potential fucking North Korean heir to the throne, I guess, but who is no longer going to be heir to the throne because he embarrassed the North Korean dynasty by getting caught going to Disneyland. All of this is real, by the way. It's fucking nuts. And they're like, what? We thought it was a fucking prank. They literally thought it was a fucking prank. How do the women not get poisoned by it? So there's two theories. One is either that they immediately washed their hands, which they did right after the prank, apparently. Or the other argument is the other theory. There's two working theories. The other theory is that this was a substance that only became poisonous when both of the they had like two separate concoctions basically, and only when they mix together does it become poisonous. So one person had one part of the concoction, the other person had the other part of the concoction. So when they both like rolled up on him and like rubbed him on his face, then that's when it became poisonous. So neither of them were poisoned. So that's what the theory is. The funniest thing is Kim Jong-un and the North Korean government never admitted that they were the ones who assassinated the other Kim. I forget what his fucking name is, whatever, the brother. But they did apparently apologize to the nation of Vietnam for having one of their nationals, having one of their citizens get caught up in this assassination. How fucking funny is that, dude? Yes, I've been watching the spy show on Netflix, the Spycraft one. That was the best episode. The bug stuff is not as fun, but the assassination episode was insane, dude. Vietnam threatened to cut diplomatic ties? Yeah. All these countries have mad cool ways of assassinating people. U.S. just drone strikes dudes in their car, shaking my head. Oh, that's literally how. Yeah. They even briefly touch on that. They're like, since the 1970s, the CIA does not officially have methods of assassinating leaders, so they just drone people. Like, they're literally like, yeah, we don't like assassinate them the old way. We just drone strike them. Literally, that's what they do. They don't do like the whole fucking blowing smoke in someone's face or, you know, any of that spycraft. They just literally just drone you. It doesn't matter. Boom, droned. Ever since Castro fucked his assassin, yeah, they talk about that too. They were like looking at methods in how to assassinate Castro, and that's actually why they stopped. And we're talking goated assassination. Can you mention ETA blowing the Spanish PM's car over a building in 1971? Absolutely crazy. I'm unfamiliar with that one, but there's really crazy ones, man. There are really crazy assassinations out there. How millennials killed the spy industry? Yeah. There was the show is called Spycraft on Netflix. But yeah, the polonium one is just like insane. There's also, I mean, Russians like literally nonstop assassinate. Like they're just straight up still holding on to those traditional cultural values of assassinating political dissidents and stuff. So they're still doing a lot of that. I mean, Navalny had an attempted assassination which failed, but the polonium one is like by far the craziest one. There is a Ukrainian guy who was running for president. And he he was the attempted assassination on him was done with like a fucking Agent Orange, like a proprietary chemical in Agent Orange or some shit. And he actually survived it, and he's like super fucked up. And then he became president apparently afterwards. But yeah, a bystander got killed by the Novichok in England. Yes, that's true. Russia and Israel competing for the world record. I feel like Israel's assassinations are more old school though. They just like shoot you, you know what I mean? They just roll up on you and just fucking spray you. Whereas Russians are like trying to fucking poison you still. I read reports that there's a list of people and it doesn't matter how you survive to 65. You're gonna be, I read reports that there's a list of people and it doesn't matter if you have survived to 65, you're gonna be assassinated. Wait, what? Yeah, Israeli assassins, they blow your car up or they just fucking shoot you. Whereas with Russian assassins, there's like poison and like they do go for style points for sure. And it's like way more old school. Someone trying to assassinate, there's a laser on your head right now? Yes, I know. Russia throws you off the hotel balcony? I mean, that's old school as fuck too. Russia killed that spy by knocking him out and putting him in a gym bag to die. Another insane thing about like spycraft that I found out was Theremin, Leon Theremin, who invented the theremin, musician and scientist, also found to this day one of the only methods of like bugging people without any sort of electronic equipment whatsoever. This thing called literally The Thing. That's what it's called. It's called The Thing. And for 7 years in the American embassy in Russia, this fucking the Russian Boy Scouts had gifted the ambassador this like US figurine. They placed it prominently and they obviously scanned it for bugs, but because there's no electronics in it, they never knew that there was literally a fucking just a fucking small little microphone that is connected to I guess I don't even know how the fucking science behind it works, but as long as you beam fucking microwave like radio frequencies at it, it's just like the theremin. If you've ever seen a theremin, you know how like you can use radio waves and shit to make music. Basically, someone would just beam radio waves at it and fucking hear everything that's going on.